Hello and welcome to part 2 of my deep dive into Admin By Request EPM app control on Windows endpoints. In this video, part 2, I'm going to be talking about our block feature, how that works, and also why and where you might want to use that. Okay, so the general theme of this app control deep dive was all about discussing strategies for handling approvals more efficiently. And one very easy way to reduce the number of approvals that come through is to look to see if there are any applications that you simply think you do not want to allow. There is no point in allowing those approval requests to come in if you are simply going to deny them every time. So there's a really good report in the portal, which is the Elevated Applications report under the Reports User Reports. And this will give you a nice breakdown of applications that are elevated by users. I can look at this list and I can see that there's Command Prompt and also Services Manager. So those are both system files. So I probably want to block those. And also I can see Java, which I really want to block because of the worries about the licensing. So as I'm going to deny these requests, how about we just stop users requesting them in the first place and block them? So we're going to have a look at how to do that. And also, when I say block application, I'm talking about blocking the user requesting to run the application as admin. Admin By Request EPM is all about managing privilege elevation. And so the central purpose of blocking is to block the elevation request versus blocking a file from just running non-elevated. That's a bit out of scope for us. However, it is still possible to block a user from running a file non-elevated, but this is something that really should be done with care. I'd probably not recommend doing it aside for some very specific use cases, but more on that later. And so let us take a closer look at the blocking feature. Okay then, so let's have a quick look at blocking and look at the various options. So again, I've got my endpoint here on the right hand side. It's pretty much configured as default. So that means that in my subsetting that controls the authorization functionality, I've got approval turned on. So anything that I want to be able to elevate needs to go through to approval, including system files. So basically I've implemented the product, and anything that anyone wants to run as admin needs to get approval, and that is going to mean approval requests are going to come through. As I just mentioned, there's a really handy report, which is the Elevated Applications report, and I can see here that there's various applications, and I think a good place to start when talking about blocking is just what applications do you want to prevent users from requesting in the first place. So for example, we've got Services Manager here, and also we've got Command Prompt here as well. So I can go there's two ways to deal with this. In App Control, I could go into the audit log for Command Prompt, for example. I could then go block this file. I could put it into my subsetting. I don't want it to run as administrator. It's going to be in a folder, a Windows directory, and the file name is such. So I can hit save, and that's going to create a specific rule to prevent a user from even requesting elevation of Command Prompt. So if I try and do that, I'm going to get a block message. Okay, that is. But there are many system files. So actually, because I know I had services in there as well, another kind of way to do this would be a broader way, which would be to go into lockdown, and this is for system files specifically, and for the run as admin mode, and I can just deny system files from running, being requested at all. So that would be all system files, and then I mean, we've talked about pre-approval. I could put a pre-approval request in for specific system files. And as you know, pre-approvals win over blocking. So in this way, I can block all system files apart from those that I want to allow to be bypass approval with a pre-approval rule. But anyway, I can hit save here, and then I can basically go, and if I try to elevate command prompt, it's not going to allow me to do it. And if I was to try to do PowerShell, again, that would also not allow me to elevate as well. So I've basically blocked all system files from the ability of a user to request approval. So that's going to take away quite a few requests straight there. The report did have Java. So again, back to the audit log, I can have a little look to see. I'm sure there was a Java in here. I think it was this one here. So I can go in here and again break open and block like so. And here, so if we think of blocking as sort of like the reverse of pre-approval, we have the same options pretty much as we had in pre-approval, but as opposed to overriding approval, now we get to be able to block the file from running as an administrator and therefore blocking the request. So again, we have the if it's located in a directory, if it's a digital certificate, or if it's a checksum, and we're going to, I think, as I'm not entirely sure which, we'll have a look maybe, but if I just save this, I'm pretty sure this rule would be the one we've got here, but we're going to just have a look and see if that is the case. It's blocked. Excellent. So what I could also do on this is I could edit the rule and I could put a blocking message. No Java allowed, call help desk, and then you could put the number in if you wanted to, like so, and then here we could put an internal comment in as well. But if I just hit yes, save here, then if I then try and run that, you can see I get the thingy. Now you might also notice a pin code. So pin code is quite handy because you can block applications from running as admin, but still, if you've got edge cases where you just need something to run, you can always get the pin code to kind of get past that. So if I click on pin code here, the process would be this. So a user tries to run something as admin, they get the block message. Perhaps the block message says, if you need a pin, call this number, and get your pin 1. So here's the pin 1. And what I would do if I was on the portal side, so I'm the person that is in charge of, allowing or denying people from running things. If it was found that I should be able to run, this Java on this one occasion, then I would go to the inventory. I would find the computer, and there's a pin link here. And then what I would do is I would say to the user, what is your pin 1? And the user would tell me 455816, and then I would generate the pin 2, like so. And by the way, this works offline as well. So I tell the user either, over the phone or whatever, type in 362132, and this would unlock the installer on this one occasion. That's a unique pin, and the user would be able to run this just the one time. Okay, and also I may add as well, so if I just close that, if you were to go into the events, you would also see that the initial block would be shown. You would then see the pin code being issued, and then you would see it would then go ahead with the elevation with the pin code. So actually we're audit logging all of these events, the initial block and then the pin code and the pin code use. So that's very handy indeed. So that is how we would block a single application. Let's go back to the subsetting, and it's in here. So we've already blocked system files, and we decided we wanted to block this specific application. How about we decide we want to block everything made by Oracle? So that is also possible and very easy to do. Pretty much the same as doing a pre-approval rule. With a vendor cert, you would just click on block this file, put it in the subsetting, and instead of you could just create the certificate rule, and then you could see here that the Oracle certificate is pre-populated, and you could just put in a message, hit save, and then this means that any application that is made by Oracle will not be allowed unless there's a pre-approval rule. So if I go to the Java, that is blocked. MySQL Workbench, that version is blocked. Everything made by Oracle is going to be blocked. So now what I can do, just to explain the priorities here, I blocked everything that's made by Oracle. I can go into the audit log, and I can then basically find the MySQL Workbench version. Let's say there's only one version of MySQL Workbench I want to approve, and that is maybe 8.2.3 for some whatever reason, and I can basically maybe I can use a different audit log entry. Yeah. Let's find one that hasn't been used before. Let me just see if I can. Click on the funnel. Okay, Workbench. Any one of these should work. Okay, so this is 8.0.2.3, pre-approve the file, and then I would then go in the subsetting, and this is the hash. Okay, so I am going to save this. So important, I remember it's 8.0.2.3, and if I find that version, so it's not that one, it's not this one. So this one will work. I get the confirmation. It's going to give me an error because there's stuff missing. That's fine though. But if I try to run 8.2.4, of course that's going to get caught in the blanket certificate block, as would any other file made by Oracle. So you can see we get the blanket certificate block from the blocking rule, and then we can kind of pinhole specific applications through using the pre-approval. Excellent. So let's just delete that rule, go back to blocking, and we'll take away the blanket blocking rule for the certificate for Oracle. Now, what else do we have? So we've covered the certificate and the checksum blocking. Directory is pretty much the same as a pre-approval. So again, you'd need to specify a location on the computer, whether it be program files, Windows, user profile, custom location, to prevent a user from elevating that file as admin. The other option is the folder tree option. So, I mean, we did have in the previous video, a rule that overrode approval for a network share. I mean, to illustrate it, you could do something exactly the same, just using this network path instead. So, I mean, it's I don't know if it's a good use case, but if I was to just save that in there, then basically I should be able to, if I try and run any of these, it will block me from elevating it. You can see that. Okay. Again, this is blocking running as admin. And this is actually quite an important thing to mention, is that Admin By Request is an EPM, so that's all about handling the privilege elevation. So this is the blocking feature. Primarily, it's all about preventing users from either requesting applications to be elevated, to blocking those, or just simply blocking them outright. So this is from elevating with admin rights. Okay, so that is the primary functionality here, but of course it may be a situation where you may want to prevent a user from running an application at all, non-privileged. So I would say probably Admin By Request isn't maybe the ideal solution to do that. There are other solutions out there, AV providers that already have that capability. But if you wanted to create a rule to block a specific file from even running, that is something you can do, although you have to be extremely careful, because if you were to block something that was part of a service or part of a Windows system component, that could be quite bad. So I think the rules for using the block always would be probably you have a very specific file and you know that it's bad, it's not wanted, or perhaps a file that you simply wanted users to require to call the help desk in order to run. Okay, so that could be any application that you just simply don't want users running it without a PIN code. Okay, so that's also something you can do with this feature. So how would we do a block always rule? Well, it's again very simple and very similar to previous methods. So if I just go and have a look at this, we'll dig out PuTTY again, because PuTTY is something that you don't normally run elevated. So I'm going to go into I think it's in my zips, isn't it? So if I go into here, zips like so, and there is PuTTY, and 2 left clicks on that, I can just run it. And if I want to right click and run as admin, I get the approval. So just to illustrate, let's just do a blocking as admin, okay, for PuTTY. So I don't want you running it as admin. It's got to be in that directory, and it's going to be, actually I don't want it to be, it's not read only, so I'm going to change that to a checksum rule, and I'm going to hit save. So now this will prevent me from elevating PuTTY. Okay, so I should be able to still run it. So 2 left clicks to run it, non-admin is fine. But if I try and request to run it as admin, I'm going to get blocked like so with a PIN code. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this rule from a block file from running as admin to a block always, like so. Okay, and I'm going to put the file name in, and I hit yes to save that. So what this is going to do is it's going to, if everything matches, so if the hash matches, I would not be able to run this at all. So not even non-elevated. So if I just do 2 left clicks, this will get blocked. There we go. Okay, so if that particular file was part of a system service or part of a Windows component, you could understand that would be quite bad. So definitely be very, very careful when using block always. And again, I would say that it should be something used for a very specific kind of file name that you could clearly identify as being something you wanted to block, as not even users to be able to run it. Try to avoid using block always for things like setup.exe, install.exe, those sorts of things. It's just going to end up in a non-optimal situation. So again, we're an EPM, we're basically all about managing privilege elevations for both privilege elevation and the blocking of requests for that elevation. So really handling non-privileged operations is a bit out of scope for us, but as I mentioned, that this is possible to do using a block always rule, but please do that with care. Okay then, so that really is our blocking feature in a nutshell. So the takeaways are the pre-approval, as we know, is the top sort of priority in terms of rules, and then the block feature is sort of what you would put in if you want to prevent users from requesting elevations in the first place. But if you have pre-approval rules in already, the pre-approval will take precedence over blocking. But you can use blocking to do blanket blocks for, say, certificates, and then you can use the pre-approval to pinhole requests through for those specific applications. So in the list I showed earlier, it was machine learning, but I think the next video I'm going to do will be AI approval, because I think that makes more sense to handle next, and then we'll do the machine learning at last in part 4. But for now, that's all, and I guess I'll see you soon. Cheerio, bye for now.